Supermoto is not unalive. Can't say the actual word because the big YouTube people don't like saying it and they take away your money. However, welcome back everybody. Today, we are going to be playing a bit of Supermoto in MX Bikes. We have a track created by Mr. Johnny Bang called Supermoto Is Unalive. The track is a 3D scan, so what he scanned it with, I have no idea, but it is taken from real world data, put in game for us, so it is realistic. Well, on track is as realistic as it can possibly be. Off track leaves a little bit to be desired, but that's usually the case with 3D scan track, where you get all weird, triangly and like lumpy bits that don't really make much sense. But we're not racing on that, so that doesn't matter too much. This track is a replica of a track from Finland. I will now proceed to completely mispronounce the name. It is Tikkimäen Motorirata. Feel free to correct me in the description down below because I know that you all probably will. So this is not a height map as such. This whole track, I believe, is a model and it all has asphalt collisions and traction. Now, there's a lot of things that you have to download these days to make Supermoto work correctly in game. I will link all of them down below for you if you want to give it a go. And there's videos, tutorials on how to do all of it within those individual posts. So you can give it a go as well if you want to. I think it looks really, really nice. It's a fairly short circuit as well, so it doesn't take too long. And overall, it's just very, very pretty, which is the thing that I like about 3D scan tracks the most, is they look really, really good. But then I suppose the closer you get to them, the more kind of boofed and wonky they appear. But we don't care about that. We care about how the track rides, how the track feels. So without further ado, let's slap on the Supermoto tyres and let's spin some laps. Supermoto time, boys. Let's go. So I actually really love me some Supermoto, I can't lie, so I'm very glad that Mr. Johnny Bang has done this for us. Now, I'm always a little bit mixed when it comes to 3D scans because I love them, but then also sometimes hate them at the same time. Now, let me explain why. It's because from a distance, as you ride around, you think everything looks absolutely stunning. However, then the closer and closer you get, you realise just how boofed things are. So I feel like the perfect way of doing things with scans is to scan it and then also make a lot of adjustments after this. But I did read on the MXB mods post that Johnny says he's not the best when it comes to those sorts of final touches. So to actually have what we have in game anyway, I am more than happy to have. But you can see if we stop here, we can look at like the fencing and stuff. You can see you've got like floating objects, etc. And when I first saw the track, I thought, wow, how's that possible? Because height maps, you can only go up. You can't like hook and come back down or have nothing there and something floating above. It's just not how they work. But it turns out I think this entire track is a model rather than a height map itself, which in itself I think is actually really, really interesting. But it does also, I think I'm probably meant to cut tighter there, aren't I? It does also open the door for a lot more opportunities and refinement, because then you can go into the model itself and adjust it as you need to. So I reckon that we could, I reckon we get another updated version of this somewhere along the line. A little bit more, what's the word, like a bit more finished, a bit more final, because there's just a lot of extra stuff, a lot of extra fluff you don't need. To my knowledge, with all of these, like you see spiky bits around the outside, I believe that negatively impacts performance rather than having stuff nice and smoothed out. So I'd love to see what this looks like in Blender, to be fair, and how the faces and edges and everything look. But enough of that. Let's get on to the track itself. I really enjoy my Supermoto. I wish that it was more of a... I'm going to do chest cam for this. I wish it was more of a viable option in-game. Unfortunately, the way that the tyres work, even though we have updated tyres and stuff, they never work incredibly well by any means, and I hate the fact that we have to go and download like 3 or 4 different like links, downloads, hotfixes, animations, whatever you want to call it, for stuff to actually work properly. I would love it to be addressed a bit more at some point in the future, but then of course I'm well aware at the same time that GP bikes exists, so why would Proposo want to spend a lot of time doing Supermoto stuff for this game rather than doing it over on GP bikes? I mean, what realistically, if we think about it, what game would you think that Supermoto would belong in the most between MX bikes and GP bikes? Because I guess they are more motocross bikes suited to road than they are road bikes changed. I'm probably not explaining this well at all, but I feel like it has its place, MX bikes. I like that we've got a bunch of disciplines in this game now differently. You've got your motocross, your supercross, your enduro, your supermoto, your pit bikes. We've also got snowcross recently as well, which Dev has been making for us also, which is very, very cool. And there's all sorts of just weird and wonderful things that this game has got. And I'd just like to see everything be a bit more fleshed out. A Supermoto series would be amazing, in my opinion. We used to do one way back in the day, right in the early days of my channel. Jin, who is not really a part of the community anymore, he's disappeared without a trace. He made a Supermoto series that was really good fun. It worked okay back then. You still had some issues of just like randomly sliding out, and then once your tire's gone, it's like they've fully gone. You can't save them anymore after that point. I'd love just to see more fleshed out things like that. And some weird and wonderful series would be amazing. On my recent donator-thon, we was doing stuff, you know, like riding MSM bikes on like really difficult tracks, and the MSM bikes are a lot more capable than you think. The suspension on them, I think, works really well. The gearing's a bit weird. It does feel like it is a GP bike's copy and paste onto motocross bikes, to where you can be in like second gear and it'll just keep pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling. Like the gearing is so long. And then I think the only bad thing about the MSM bikes these days is the front end. We are so lucky to have the OEM, or now I guess Supermoto here, front ends that we have. Everything else feels so imbalanced in comparison. We're used to it being so sturdy, so that's the only downside I think that we really have to the MSMs these days. But long story short, I'd love to see some weird and wacky races ran through my MXB. I feel like that would be very good fun. One thing I've done for this video is, you know me, I usually hold my sit down button, which is my R3 button on my controller. You can see it in blue there, jiggling in the bottom left. I usually hold that down whenever I want to sit, so then anytime it's let go, I'm stood up, anytime it's held down, I'm sat down. But I would get a very sore thumb, because I feel like you sit down a hell of a lot on these bikes compared to anything else. So I've changed it to direct today. So I click it down once and it stays sat down for me. I would also love, I mean, I suppose it would kind of rewrite the entirety of the game's physics. So I mean, on the motocross bikes, you kind of want to lean the opposite way a little bit to help you with turning and get the bike cranked over a bit more traction. But that feels very counterintuitive on these. I feel like there's times where you do have to lean into the corner with it, and then you're still going to be pushing down that if I'm turning right here, you're still going to be pushing down that left foot. But I'd like to be able to lean, get hunched over the bike a little bit more, you know, lean forwards, get into it, get the bike cranked over in the corners. I think it would just immerse yourself a whole lot more. For whatever reason, I much prefer third person for Supermoto. I apologise if you're not a third person enjoyer, but that is just for my comfortability, let's say. And at some point, I would like to revisit doing a Supermoto dedicated stream, because I've done one before. We actually got a good number of people in there, and I suppose it's one of the things, once you eventually have all the Supermoto stuff installed, you can then go and play it whenever you want. It's just making sure that you get everything in the right files. But I mean, there's videos out there. The guy who made the tyre update and the animations working and stuff in game, he's got videos on how to install everything also. So we'll revisit that at some point. Maybe I can get behind a Supermoto series eventually. What is nice about it is there are people that you would not usually expect to be like right up there. If we're talking, let's say we're talking aerial outdoors, for example, that end up being incredibly quick at this. Now, the man knows that I'm not trying to insult him by any means. Me and Smiggy have a very love relationship. Mr. Smigdamp, who is a long-time moderator of the channel, he really likes his Supermoto, and Charlie does as well, to be fair. And when we do Supermoto races on streams, it's so much closer than if we was to go and load up a random motocross track or supercross track. And I love that. I love seeing people thriving in different things. For example, if you throw Charlie on a Suron on the Lee Valley BMX park, for whatever reason, he's absolutely insane and probably the best in the game on it. I don't know why, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. So this track, obviously, it's a 3D scan. It is a replica of a real track. When I think of Supermoto, I usually expect a little bit more on the dirt side of things, with some jumps thrown in there also to mess around on. Not getting this here. It is, I feel like it's all, what would you call it? It's not concrete. It's not asphalt. It's all asphalt. We've got the one hill up over the back that has like a dirt colour to it, but doesn't feel like dirt such, unless it is just like really hard pack and blue grooved. Yeah, that it could be, to be fair. This could all be blue groove. But then it goes like back to asphalt here, and this is like super blue groove, and then I suppose this could be dirt again. No idea where in the world this is located. I'm sure this is all stuff that I've covered in the intro when I go back and do my little speech, do the little montage, a little cinematic preview of the track. And let me know if you're liking that, by the way. I've done it for the last 3 videos now, and it's something that I might continue doing to give the tracks a little bit more of an introduction. I do like the skybox. Skybox is very pretty. That sun over there was the inspiration behind my thumbnail for this track as well, getting a cheeky little glow on the go also. And I also tried going to the GP Bikes Mods website, which is another website that is run by insane. Instead of MXB Mods, it's GPB Mods, and I wanted to go and download some skins for this gear that we've got here, the sumo suit. However, it doesn't work unless I've just downloaded a bunch of the wrong ones. I tried downloading some Valentino Rossi stuff, and I thought, looking at the rider model, I believed it was based on this one that I've got here. I wonder if the naming and such is different from that game to this game. So yeah, I'm stuck with the white. You can either run white or black, but also in the update for the Supermoto stuff, which has all the animations and rider gear, etc., there is like a readme file and like PSDs and stuff to go and skin and texture your own stuff, which I think is very, very cool. So you can go and get a little bit creative if you want to and make some sumo gear for people, and I think it just adds to the overall theme of it. I don't think there's any boots downloadable, at least when I searched on. I think it's part of the actual rider's skin on GP bikes, so it's a little bit different on that game to this one, where we have separate boots to colour whichever way we like. So we can't get different coloured boots, but I thought I'd rock the reds. I don't know why. I'm really enjoying rocking red boots at the moment. I feel like I go through stages of that where I'll run entirely white boots, or entirely red, entirely black, entirely blue. I don't know what it is. I'd like at some point to get some custom colourways on the go where each boot is a different colour. Remember riding like schoolboy stuff back in the day in like 65, 85cc classes, and it would kind of be the cool thing to run two different colour boots, whether you're an Alpine Stars user or a Fox user. You get one white one black one. Obviously a very expensive thing to do just for the look of it, but some of the people back then, they had a lot of money. Me, not so much. I had my one and done. I had my one pair of boots and that was it. But if there was one place we would always spend money on, it was either the helmet or the boots. I feel like they're some of the most important bits of protection that you can have. So protect yourselves, kids. Don't go riding with nothing. I really, really enjoy the aspect on Supermoto of just like backing the bike into the corner, so getting that back end stepped out ever so slightly. And I'm trying to find like the sweet spot. I think it's just the game where there's such a fine margin where you can step it out either a little bit too much or not enough, so you don't turn as much as you'd like to. It's very fun finding that balance, finding that line of where you can and can't get away with it. The grip on these tyres I think is actually really, really good. So getting on the throttle, coming out the corners, you kind of roll it on, you don't bang it open, just nice and smooth. And I love the whole aspect of trying to like apex the corners, so starting out wide, cutting inside, drifting out wide again. Probably take me quite a few laps to actually master that and learn this, and I've only just realised, to be fair, looking at top left, that there's no time. Well, if there is timing, the timing doesn't work, I don't think, which is odd actually, because usually if there's no timing gates, then the map on the right hand side doesn't exist, and it'd be like the stop map. So there's timing there, it's just not working. It's not registering when I cross the start finish line for whatever reason. But oh well, it's not the end of the world. It is what it is. But I wanted to basically make this because the name of the track is Supermoto Is Dead, and I disagree. I think Supermoto is still very much on the rise. I would like to see it keep getting more and more popular within the game, and then maybe just like one mega pack released where you've got all the OEM bikes, you've got the animations, you've got the updated tyres, etc., where people can just do one drag and drop and that's it, it's done. Because I feel like I end up turning into IT support sometimes on the live streams where people aren't sure where stuff goes and what files different downloads go in. So that's the only hindrance. That's like the gate that is up at the moment to stop me doing a whole bunch of Supermoto content in live streams. But we'll get another dedicated one at some point. There's an okay number of tracks. Some are paid, unfortunately. So there's one on the GP of France that we had this year, and that's a really, really good Supermoto track. Obviously, it's behind a paywall is the only issue, but there's a couple of good free ones. Mr. Johnny Bang made one other than this I've not played yet that did look a little bit more like had more motocrossy sections in it, so I should definitely give that a go. But let me know if you are a Supermoto enjoyer, or if you're not, what is the reason? What's holding you back? I know some people just want to get the bike cranked over in a rut, but there's a certain level of satisfaction I get from just perfectly apex in a corner for outside, inside, drifting out again, back in that back end into the corner really, really nicely. And it's just a completely different way of playing the game. Like if you've watched my controller overlay during this video, you'll notice that the whole thing is just so smooth, so progressive, just taking it nice and easy. And I just think it's a really, really good fun all around. So to Mr. Johnny Bang and the other rare members of the community that go out of their way to make some Supermoto stuff for us, thank you very, very much. And I hope that it keeps going and keeps getting better and better. And I'd love to see something similar to this, but where it's like all been smoothed out and polished up a lot better. And I think you'd have a just really, really amazing overall track on your hands. The other thing, can you see that over there? I see a tree bent over. It do be levitating. It do be. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world. But yes, thank you very much, all of you chaps, for watching this video. If you liked it, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's very much appreciated. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.
Lynn's in the zone, never backing down. Riding MX bikes, he's the talk of the town. 2022 champ with a YouTube crown. His game is tight, no signs of slowing down. Late nights, bright lights, he's chasing that fame in the digital arena. Writing his name, she's a 10 out of 10. Supporting his lane, hairline might receive, but his passion's the same.